Hello, welcome back. This is it. This is my favorite films of the year. I'm going to get down to a top 10, but obviously I wanted to talk about some honorable mention films, and I did not think I would remember this many films, so I'm using my computer, which means I'm using JAWS. And you're going to hear it out loud, because I'm a blind film critic, so this is my life. So, a little taste for anybody who's ever like, I wonder if he's really, what if he's really blind? Is he, is he pulling, is it? Yeah, yeah. I have JAWS on my computer. So enjoy JAWS reading to me my list so that I didn't forget it of my honorable mentions to start out with. And these are in reverse order, alphabetically, which is weird. I get that. But kicking it off, these are just honorable mentions, so they're in no particular order before I get to my top 10. Uh, uh, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. It's one of my favorite films of the past year. It was a nice, welcome surprise. I did have both Nicolas Cage and Pedro Pascal were in there. We were in my top tens for actor and supporting actor, respectively. So this really should not be too much of a surprise for anybody who's been watching all of my lists. Um, Coming up
The Sea
next
Beast.
is The Sea Beast, which obviously was on my animated feature list, top 10 animated features of the year. I'm really happy it got the Oscar nomination. I actually like it. I think it was a really good film, and I hope more people have seen it now that it's been Academy Award nominated.
To Leslie.
To Leslie, yes, I do think this is a good movie. I really wish it had audio description, but it does make my honorable mentions list because I think there's a really good film here. I think it may have even been higher. I don't know that it would crack the top 10 with audio description. I don't know. But we'll never know because there's no audio description. So there you go. Um, but Andrea Riseborough did make my top 10 best actress, and so did Mark Maron. He made my top 10 supporting actor. So again, this should not be a surprise if you've been paying attention.
Tar.
Tar. Yeah, this one I did have uh, in my best actress. Kate Blanchett made my top 10. She did not win, but Tar is an honorable mention for me. So sorry, I know it's an actual Best Picture nominee, and some people are probably going to be like, "Oh, that one hurts." Um, yeah, well, that's what makes us different. Is that I'm not saying it's a bad film. I saw 294 films released in 2022. So to make my honorable mention list out of 294 films is not bad. Um, so there you go. Coming up
Spirited.
is Spirited, which I actually really enjoyed. I enjoyed the take on it. I thought Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell worked well together. I thought the music was cute. I did pick Unredeemable was my favorite original song of the year. So this should have been something that maybe you thought might be coming along the way.
Significant Other.
Significant Other. I didn't nominate this for anything else. It's a horror film that popped up on Paramount Plus. I didn't know what it was. I watched it and I was like, hey, that surprised me. That was good. I like that. I like where his story went. I like that it kept me guessing, and I like that I didn't know what to expect. Sometimes with a lot of horror movies, where I get like Halloween Ends, and it's just like I want this to be good, but I don't. It's got everything going behind it, and then suddenly I get something like Significant Other, and I'm just like, I have no idea who this is. It's got like Jake Lacey in the cast. It's his biggest name, and I thought it was really strong, really good. So if you haven't seen it, it's on Paramount Plus. And yes, it has audio description.
She said.
She said, this film did not get enough love that it deserved. Um, yeah. Uh, I think the sad thing here is that you just found out. I'm going to go ahead and reveal to you that She Said made an honorable mention list when Talking did not. I think maybe those two films have been put up against each other a lot. So did The Woman King. Woman King did not make my honorable mention list. Um, so of the strong female women telling their own stories, She Said was kind of the one where I really appreciated what they were doing and the story that they were telling, because they refused to go in sort of a tawdry direction. And I think maybe that's why the film didn't just explode at award season is maybe people wanted it to go in that direction. It's really unfortunate, because it was a really nice story that was told here, and a nice story in that way. But I mean, like, the way that they did it, the way that they told the story, and just let this should be called women talking. This, basically, because that's what they did. These reporters just sat down and let women talk. So pray. Yes, I think a lot of people expected the worst out of this film, and we got the best out of this film. I said I couldn't remove Ever Thunder from my top 10. Every time she hovered at number 10, she just stayed there. And every time I came time to pull her from my list, I ended up dropping whoever was in ninth place instead, because because I was like, I have to keep her on the list, even if she's 10th place. Somebody has to recognize the fact of how great she was in this film. Which is why top 10 lists don't always work. Sometimes you have to have a few more. We need to be more flexible and stop doing, 5 slots at the Oscars. We gotta have some races. Some years there are 6 or 7 nominees easily. That should be there. So, anyway.
On the come up.
On the come up. This was also another Paramount Plus original. It's directed by Sanaa Lathan. It was a lot better than I thought it had any right to be completely honest. It's a movie about a girl who feels she wants to follow in her father's footsteps. Her father was sort of a rising hip hop artist, and now she's a rising hip hop artist, and she does rap battles. And it was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Divine Joy Randolph is in this. Sanaa Lathan has a really good speech towards the end of the film that made me think that this could have been something that was in awards consideration. I just don't think that maybe people look at this kind of film and go, awards. But maybe we should. I don't know. I guess it's based on a book. I liked it. Congratulations. I'm sure this is on nobody's list. So maybe I turned you on to something new.
Matilda the musical.
Matilda the musical. I did really like this adaptation. So, and it was fun. It was well cast. The songs sounded good. People didn't sound auto-tuned. I feel like they did everything right here. So, I made my list.
Marcel the Shell with Shoes On.
Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. This was definitely something that was in my top 10 for a while. So this one is a little bit closer than some of the others, because I think I somewhat recently dropped this out of my top 10. It's probably like 12th or 13th. I know what the last film was that dropped out of my top 10. It wasn't Marcel. So this is like 12th or 13th if I was being really honest. It's pretty close to hitting the top 10. I love this film. It's adorable. Jenny Slate did such a good job with this. It's like, I haven't seen anything like this since Babe, I think, would be the last film that I could say is like this. So, check it out.
Glass Onion.
Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery, which Rian Johnson hates, so we just should call it Glass Onion. It was a good film. It was very twisty. I like the twists. And it didn't make my top 10, mainly because I feel like sort of once the reveal is made, the film just kind of doesn't care about the rest of the supporting cast. All those other big names are in the cast, and just kind of, who cares? Who gives a shit? Let's get them out of here. So then people just start standing around. A lot of like well-known actors just kind of chill. They just kind of hang out. And I'm like, I feel like we could maybe have found a way to incorporate them a little bit better. But otherwise, I'm really excited about these films and what Rian Johnson does with them. But
Everything Everywhere All at Once.
oh yeah, that's yeah, you just heard that one, didn't you? Everything Everywhere All at Once did not make my top 10. Honestly, this was 11 for me. this is an 11th place. This is the last one to drop out of my top 10. Yeah, I think the rewatch really put things in perspective for me. I didn't like it as much the second time around. And maybe that's unfair, but if I was doing a larger number than the top 10, you wouldn't even have noticed. You would just notice that it was ranked lower. But I will absolutely tell you this is my number 11. This is the film that just got knocked out. Just barely didn't make it. Didn't make the cut. So
Emergency.
Emergency. Yeah, this is a film that I found on Amazon. I think it went around to some film festivals, and Amazon picked it up and put it on the streaming service, and it's a little indie film, and it's got something to say. So watch it.
Dr. Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Yes, I did actually enjoy this film, mainly because of Elizabeth Olsen. It had a lot to do with Elizabeth Olsen, actually. I loved WandaVision. I loved where they took her character, and I actually really enjoyed how her character sort of kept evolving. Just she just really wanted to get to her kids, and I think a lot of mothers can relate to that. And to this is just to like an extreme level though, and I think that's what that was. Is hell hath no fury like a mother without her kids, I think the cameos that we got were great. So I really did enjoy this film. So yeah, I didn't think Marvel did a terrible job this past year.
Emergency. Dr.
Compared-
Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Compared to the year where we got Black Widow and the Eternals, I think we're on an upswing. So I much preferred the year where we got Doctor Strange, Thor, and Black Panther: Wakanda Forever to the year when we got Black Widow and the Eternals. So anyway,
Don't Make Me Go.
Don't Make Me Go. If you watched my Best Actor video, you just saw that John Cho was my runner-up for Best Actor. Nobody saw this film. It's okay. I saw 294 films. I told you, I saw more movies than you. It's okay. Just accept the fact. Let it wash over you. But this is an honorable mention for me. Maybe more people will check it out. Who knows?
Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers.
Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers. The audio description on here is disappointing, but it's because Disney wouldn't allow any of the cameos to be in the audio description, which doesn't make any sense to me. But I still think the film that was written and directed was hilarious and entertaining, and probably the best case scenario for a Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers movie, without making it like, I don't know, G-Force or something like that. Just something ridiculous and stupid. I really actually kind of hope they make a sequel. I would not mind. I hope Disney sees value in continuing this franchise. Anyway,
Cha-Cha Real Smooth.
Cha-Cha Real Smooth, the film that everybody forgot about. I think Apple needs to learn a lesson about timing, and if you release a film a little not at the right time, it doesn't always pan out. It didn't pan out this year for Cha-Cha Real Smooth, which was a big hit coming out of Sundance, and then they decided, oh, it'll be fine if you drop it in June. Same thing with Hulu. They put Good Luck to You, Leo Grande in June. They're like, it'll be fine. It'll be able to hold. No, neither one of those films did their Oscar campaigns survive. So, I think we really have to start remembering release dates matter.
Rose.
Bros. Part of me, I know it's hilarious. I did feel like it was a little bit of like an educational video. Some people are like, well, that's just Billy Eichner's, that's just him. That's authentic Billy Eichner. And I can accept that. But I did kind of feel like it was a bit much on the educational side of things. It's like, who are you making the film for? Because I don't know that a gay audience needs to be educated on, Stonewall and stuff like that. I felt like part of it was Billy Eichner really believed that like a whole bunch of straight people were going to watch his film, and this was his opportunity to reach them. And this was maybe the reason why I've seen this in other people's top 10 lists, and good for them. Congratulations. I don't know. I didn't need the lesson, but I still enjoyed the film. It's still funny. So, good job. I just think maybe don't advertise yourself so much as being like some sort of first time ever, when there have been films that you're standing on the shoulders of a lot of films that you seem to not want to acknowledge. I'm just saying.
Black Panther: Wakanda Forever.
Black Panther: Wakanda Forever is on my honorable mention list. I I really like this film. I actually think I might like it better than the first film because of the emotional core. I love films with emotional cores to them, and this one has a great emotional core. So, yeah, it's here. Great performances. It got 2 supporting actress recognitions from me in my top 10, 2 spots in the top 10, and then one in Best Actress. So I did not shortchange this film, and it was an ensemble. So this film was pretty much all over my list. It just fell short of my top 10, but I actually would not have been mad if this film got a Best Picture nomination.
Better late than never.
Better Nate than never. Yeah, you probably think I'm stupid, but I'm gonna put this here. I liked it. It's adorable. It's cute. It's a kids' film. It's on Disney Plus, and it's just this adorable little gay kid that really just wants to be on Broadway. So he just kind of leaves and goes and auditions for Stitch the musical, and it's it's a lot better than it had any right to be for Disney Plus original. So I enjoyed it.
Beavis and Butthead do the universe.
Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe is hilarious. I'll stand by that any day of the week. No film made me laugh as much as this film did this year. I had to talk myself out of putting this in the top 10. I was like, people won't take you seriously if you put this in the top 10. And I was like, it's going in my honorable mentions though. It has to be in my honorable mentions. Because it's not fair. It's not fair to this film, which made me laugh more than any other film. I've seen people who put Jackass Forever for the same reason. They're like, this is the funniest thing I saw this year. Well, Beavis and Butthead was the funniest thing I saw this year. I know that doesn't necessarily make us highbrow or anything like that, but this was hilarious. I'm so glad that Mike Judge is back with these characters.
The Batman.
The Batman. Like I said when I did my re-review of this film, the only thing I don't like is the Joker cameo. That's it. I didn't need that. I don't need that in the film. The rest of the film is flawless.
After Yang.
After Yang, the other Colin Farrell movie that it's just too under the radar. I wonder. I don't think if Banshees opened this year, I don't think he would have gotten a nomination for After Yang. I think it's too small of a film, which is sad because I think it's the kind of work that could have gotten him a nomination. It's very thought-provoking. It's very quiet, very emotional. It feels very not Colin Farrell. I love that he's stretching himself as an actor. If you haven't seen After Yang, please do. It's really good.
Page 11. After Sun.
After Sun. It's my final honorable mention. And this is another film that I liked. It's a look at a childhood. And Charlotte Wells did an excellent job. She was my pick for Breakthrough Director of the Year. So those are my honorable mentions. Yes, there are some films here that I haven't mentioned yet that were nominated for Best Picture. They didn't make my honorable mention list. However, there are still 4 films that are nominated for Best Picture that are in my top 10. So that means there are 6 films that I have in the top 10 that did not get Oscar nominations this year. All right. So that's it. This is it. This is the top 10. My top 10 films of 2022. Number 10 is Good Luck to You, Leo Grande. I adore this film. I adore Emma Thompson in this film. I like Daryl McCormack in this film. Both actors made top 10 lists respectively in their categories. I also had in my top 10 for original screenplay. This is a great film with a limited cast. It's I know some people don't like simple films that don't use multiple locations, but sometimes when you write a film that's got such great dialogue and such great acting, that should be enough. We don't need every film to be Avatar. We just don't need it. By the way, Avatar is the only Best Picture nominee I haven't seen. I've seen 9 of the 10 Best Picture nominees. So if you think something isn't on here because I didn't see it, the only film I didn't see was Avatar. So, there you go. I saw the other 9 nominees.
Picture honorable mention. Lang. Good Luck to You, Leo. The Outfit.
Number 9 is The Outfit. This was the first film that hit the top of my list that I actually felt like I could say is my favorite film of the year. Like, I think it was the first A I gave of the year. I thought what Mark Rylance did in this film was great. You know, I'm a Cotter. I love his accents. Um, it's a really tight thriller. It takes place in very limited location. I mean, it's a store that has multiple rooms, but it doesn't really leave the store. And a lot happens, and it's very tense, and it's very good. And if you haven't seen the outfits, I'm not the only one who disagrees. I want to say this was either an honorable mention for Chris Stuckman or it was in his top 10. And he's literally the most subscribed to YouTuber. So I'm not alone. I'm not alone on this one.
The Menu.
The Menu. Yes, I adored this film. It's I liked it. I liked the quirkiness. I loved that it wasn't what I expected. I loved that it went in different directions. I didn't know what it was going to do. I didn't know where it was going to go. Yeah, the performances are great. I recognize, of course, both Anya Taylor-Joy and Ray Fiennes in my top. I put The Menu he was in my top 10 for director, Mark Mylod. It was in my top 10 for best original screenplay. This one was all over my lists, so yeah, don't be surprised. It's there. So coming up, what is next on the list?
A love song.
A love song. Just in case you're wondering, yeah, the film. I did pick Dale Dickey as my best actress of the year for a love song, and I did put Wes Studi in my top 10 for best supporting actor for a love song, and I did put the screenplay in best original screenplay also. So again, is this really that surprising? I don't think so. It's a very simple film, but I love films like this. I love to sit down and watch indie cinema and be surprised by something that I didn't even know really existed. I literally had no idea what this was until I think the Gotham Awards nominated it, and then I was like, oh, I'll check that out. Just like I checked out The Cathedral. It put like The Inspection on my radar. I put a bunch of films on my radar that I hadn't heard of yet. But it was a love song that really just hit me. And I was like, this film is beautiful. It's simple, and it's beautiful, and it's just really well done. And I'm really sad that I don't think anybody saw it. I really wanted like a To Leslie campaign to happen for Dale Dickey, and it never happened. So, but it is in my top 10 of the year.
Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio.
Ooh, Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. Coming in at number 6. Yes. It's the only animated feature in my top 10. I picked this as my best animated feature of the year, and it got to crack my top 10. So that's how good it is. I've seen this film twice, and it hits me every time. It's a fantastic film. I think what he did with this, I think this is Guillermo del Toro's best work in years, to be totally honest. I like it better than Shape of Water. I like it better than, I don't know, Pacific Rim or Nightmare Alley. I really can't think of, I'm trying to think of another Guillermo del Toro film that I like more than this one off the top of my head, and I'm drawing. It's hard for me to draw a film that I'm like, I don't know, get back to me on that. I'll tell you if there's something. I think he found his medium, and he told a great story. So, yes.
The Fabelmans.
Ooh, number 5 is The Fabelmans. Another film I've seen twice. This was one of my Oscar rewatches, and the second time around was just as good. It was nuanced more. I enjoyed the performances a lot more. It actually changed my opinion on Gabriel Labelle, and he ended up in my top 10 because of it. He was somebody who had floated out of my top 10, and I floated him back in at number 10 after watching the film, because I wrote him off as being just like, oh, that's a simple performance. He's just a kid playing a kid. And then I kind of like got into the performance a little bit more, and it really impressed me. He really does carry a lot of the film, and he has to stand toe-to-toe with a lot of well-known major actors throughout the film. And I think it's a great performance. I do, on its own, even though it's coming from an actor that just kind of came out of nowhere. So, I also did pick by the way, and Steven Spielberg was in my top 10 for directors. This was in my top 10 for ensemble. Paul Dano was in my top 10 for supporting actor. Michelle Williams won supporting actress. This film was in my top 10 for best original screenplay. This film was in my top 10 for best original score. It's just like, if you didn't think The Fabelmans was going to be on my list, it was, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know that there were more lists I could have put it on. It's just, so yeah. The tea leaves we're reading The Fabelmans is going to make his top 10. So
Top Gun Maverick.
Top Gun Maverick comes in at number 4. I again just rewatched this film. Loved it the second time around. Loved it even more. It did make me sort of question that whether or not we need Jennifer Connelly in that film. I don't think the film needs Jennifer Connelly. I don't think she's bad. I just think it's just this extra thing where you're like, I don't know, does she need to be here? I equated it in my review of going in to pick up your birthday cake at the bakery, and they're like, and here's a hamburger. And you're like, I mean, I like hamburgers. It's free. I wasn't really looking for one. I guess I'll take it. Maybe I'll eat it. Kind of hungry. That's kind of what I felt like about Jennifer Connelly. I was like, I guess, I don't know. Don't know that I need this, but thank you. So, yeah, Top Gun Maverick absolutely deserves to be here. It's one of the films nominated for Best Picture. I had it in Best Ensemble. I had Tom Cruise in Best Actor. I had this in Best Adapted Screenplay. I had Hold My Hand in Best Original Song. I had this in Best Sound. So, I believe those are all the categories that it popped up in. So yeah, it did pretty well. It's very entertaining, and it's better than it has any right to be. So,
The Black Phone.
The Black Phone. This is going to be the divisive one, especially the fact that it's at number 3. I'm sure some people are laughing and they're like, that's funny. Well, if we don't start recognizing genre films the same, there's people who complain all the time when their favorite genre film is not taken seriously. So I'm taking my genre films seriously. I'm sorry, it just wasn't Pearl. There are plenty of people out there who are like, Pearl, Mia Goth. Cool. Mine is The Black Phone. So, I didn't like Pearl as much as everyone else did, but I did like The Black Phone. So I agree that we should be talking about these films on like they're everything else, like they're normal, just ride alongside everything else, because that's the only way we're going to normalize people taking those performances seriously. When people keep going, why didn't Toni Collette get a nomination for Hereditary? If we don't start talking about these films and putting these films in our top 10s and talking about them as in our top lists for acting and stuff, nobody else will. So we have to start the movement. I love The Black Phone. I've seen this film twice, and it held up the second time around. Mason Thames was in my top 10 for Best Actor of the Year. As a kid, he was also my pick for Best Child Actor of the Year. So that should not have come as a surprise. Scott Derrickson was in my Best Director list. This was also in Best Adapted Screenplay for me. So I did pick this film a couple times in a couple different categories. And I just love that it tapped into... I was part of the generation that played outside, and we were told to avoid vans with strangers. So this felt very home for me. It really just hit home. And I remember the first time I watched this, I really didn't know how the film was going to end. And that's a testament to how Scott Derrickson cuts and edits the film and the story and tells the story. And I adore this. I think it's a great film. So please watch The Black Phone. So what's my runner-up? What is my number 2 slot of the year? The runner-up for Best Picture of the Year is nominated for Best Picture. So that's a good sign. Nobody's going to fight me on it.
The Banshees of Inisherin.
It's The Banshees of Inisherin. I love this film. I recently, when I rewatched it, I bumped it up to an A+, because I really believe it will be one of those films that has a rewatchability factor to me that I loved. I loved rewatching it the second time. I actually liked it even more. Funny thing was, I gave it an A the first time around, and this was a film that grew in every form. It grew. I didn't really like Barry Keoghan's performance the first time around. I didn't get it, and then he started getting like noted for his performance, and I was like, why? What is it about this performance? And then the second time around, I paid attention, and I was really honed in on his performance and his character, and I was like, oh, I think I get it now. I get his performance. He still didn't make my top 10, but I went from being baffled to being like, oh, well, that's fine. You know, I didn't hate it. It wouldn't be my choice, but okay. If you like it, I get it. I see the, you know, I see the stuff there. There's some stuff going on. So yeah, it's moved up. I think the dialogue is great. I'm becoming a real Martin McDonagh fan, because Three Billboards, I can tell you that year, if it wasn't my number one, it was my number two. So I think Martin McDonagh keeps directing either my best picture or my runner up. The past couple times he's come out of the gate, so I can't wait to see what his next film is. I'm really excited. I also, if you didn't think Banshees was going to be here, here's a recap. Martin McDonagh was in my best director list. Colin Farrell was named best actor by me. Brendan Gleeson was in supporting actor. Carrie Condon, I believe, was my runner-up for best supporting actress. This film was my pick for best original screenplay. So yeah, there were a couple places where it's already popped up, and you should have been able to see this one coming. What is my number one film of the year? It's not Everything Everywhere. It's not Banshees. It's not Top Gun. I'll tell you, it's nominated for an Oscar, and there's a couple films that I haven't said yet. So which film is it? Well, I can tell you that nothing affected me this year. Not a single film affected me more this year in any sort of way where I just was stunned. I can't even remember the last time I was just so stunned by a film where I just took my breath away. I do remember the experience of being in the theater. I saw a pre-screening before a pre-release of The Boy in the Striped Pajamas before it was released back in the day, back when I could see. I was got lucky and saw a pre-screening, and at the end of that film, I just sat there. I sat through all the credits. I was just like, I couldn't move. I was just like, what just happened? I didn't, I thought the film was going for a certain ending, but I didn't think it was going for that ending. And I was floored. And I felt that way all throughout All Quiet on the Western Front. And that's my pick for Best Picture of the Year. It's like unrelentingly, aggressively anti-war. It's horrifying. It's emotional. It's fantastic. It's so well made. It's so well done. And this is a testament to the fact that as a blind film critic, you can actually make an audio description track that is so good that I can sit there and be so impressed by a foreign language title that I put it as my Best Picture of the Year. Last year I really did enjoy Drive My Car, but I didn't put it as Best Picture. So this year, nothing touches this. I only need to see it once, so it's not like Banshees, where I feel like that's probably the one that's gonna end up being sort of I'm gonna end up watching this more. I want to watch it again and again and again. I can't say that I want to watch this again. Maybe I'll see it one more time. I sort of felt the same way about 12 Years a Slave. It's a really hard watch, and I think maybe I still haven't rewatched 12 Years a Slave. I think probably at some point in my life I will. I'll see it maybe one more time. But I think the same thing will be true with this. I think somewhere down the line, I'll have some reason to revisit this film, and it'll all come back to me. It'll all come flooding back. It's the best war film I've seen since, I don't know, maybe ever. at least in Saving Private Ryan. And I loved Dunkirk. You know, I mean, there are some films in there that I feel like are fantastic war films. That just, they really hit home. They do such a good job of what it is they're doing. I mean, I'm talking about, like, I'm putting this above, like, Black Hawk Down. I know all the films that I just shorted by saying this is the best thing since Saving Private Ryan. But it's like watching the first 20 minutes of Saving Private Ryan for 2 hours and 45 minutes. It feels like it just doesn't ever let up. Just when it does, it comes back and it crushes you again. Just when you think for a second that you can breathe, it chokes you again. And it's an incredible experience. It also happens to be the film that I think is going to win Best Picture. Maybe I've let my feelings about the film affect that appearance, but it did win the BAFTA. I've got my fingers crossed. But this is official. This is my pick for my personal pick for Best Picture of the Year. So thank you for watching. It's been a ride. 294 films. I got 6 films close. And I can tell you that after I do this, later today I plan on watching Puss in Boots. So it's going to be 295. But it just hit Peacock and I'm like, fuck you. So, yeah, so it will get to 295, but I don't think I can find 5 more films that I'm going to end up watching. I don't know. So, I fell short, guys. I thought I could hit 300. So, that's it. At some point I'll see Avatar too, so I guess it'll get to 296. I'm waiting for Disney Plus. It's a long ass film. I need to watch that shit at home. You know, when you're blind and you're thinking, the first time when I saw Avatar, I could see. So I saw the visual effects and I was like, oh, I get this. I get why people like it. Second time around, I'm like, you can't see your visual effects. Your film is too long. I'm waiting for home. I do not care, James Cameron. There's nothing you can do to make me go to the theaters to listen to your film. It's not happening. So, I'm waiting for Disney Plus. But it's been a ride, and we'll see what wins the Oscars. And I hope you guys like my list. I'm sure a lot of it confuses you, but I think that's what makes me different, is that I really don't care. I have to like what I like. You have to like what you like. The other person has to like what they like. You know. So, what are your favorite films of the year? Drop them in the comments. Let me know. And thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. And I will see you guys on the other side.